Hey, Jennifer, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fine. How are you, Eric? I love you.
Oh, he says I'm doing great. He says it's so unfair. I'm always doing great to that question.
I know. Maybe I
Uh,
should stop asking you then. But
no,
anyways,
no. He
Jennifer
says
Dorn.
he says I love you too.
Oh, I know you do. Jennifer Dorn at psychic medium, jenniferdorn.com. We are going to talk about with Eric the Green New Deal.
Yes.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is going to be a short one. Okay, Eric, will we achieve zero net emissions? Well, let's start out with this. What do you think about the Green New Deal, Eric?
Well, you did ask the questions, and the question, will we achieve? And he said no.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. The whole
No.
question for our listeners or watchers, will we achieve zero net emissions globally by 2050? If not, will we ever and when?
No, we will never achieve zero. It will
Okay,
never. It just can't be. It can't be. So, um, you were also asking what he thinks about the deal,
yeah,
and so what he's saying is there are some good parts.
yeah.
There are some good parts, but he really is making me feel like they asked for or they put out something that they know is unreasonable and never going to be achieved.
Oh,
Okay, it's like you ask for way more than what you want and somebody
oh,
offers way less than what you want and you meet somewhere in the middle. He says this is the plan from the get-go.
oh, okay, interesting. So, fossil fuels it's not just for heating homes and fueling vehicles and stuff like that. We use fossil fuels to make plastic, to make a lot of pharmaceuticals. Or there's so many things that fossil fuels, fertilizer, etc. So I can imagine eliminating fossil fuels entirely. Now, achieving net zero net emissions globally, of course, we're not the only ones on the planet. We've got
Right.
China, India, and so on, and they're going through their industrial revolution just like we did a long time ago, and we were spewing out all sorts of crap, and
Yes.
they're going through the same thing now. But won't we figure out some sort of net zero energy, like infinite energy? It is out there. Infinite
So yeah,
energy.
what he's saying is it's like a lot of things in a vacuum. It may work perfectly,
Yeah.
but to achieve this globally, everybody would have to be on board. And no, it's not going to happen that at some point in the timeline of Earth as it is now, that everybody's going to be on board with doing this.
How
And
much?
even if they
Oh,
were, he says, there's there isn't a way to get completely rid of it. There would still be emissions. It's just There's just going to be.
yeah. Okay. I have a feeling some of these questions are from somebody who does not like the Green New Deal. All right.
Yeah.
For example, is the Green New Deal just a part of, now these are from the community guys. I have nothing to do with these questions. Is the Green New Deal just a part of the deep state swindling money from the American people, and this money just goes into the elite's pockets, or whoever is behind it? Maybe they have pure intentions.
Okay. So what Erik is saying about this is basically like with anything. Anytime there's power or change or something, there's going to be some of both. So
Yeah.
we live on Earth. We are human. So yes, there are some parts of this that are intentionally for good, and we really need to be using every source of energy power that we can.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. Some of the stuff that is with this Green New Deal is some of the stuff we should be looking at and using more, but not at the expense of getting rid of fossil fuels. There has to be a balance, like with anything, there has to be a balance.
Yeah.
However, yes, there are some people who are involved in this that have nefarious intentions
Well, the ones,
that can get rich on it.
yeah,
You know,
the ones that thought it up and are pushing it most, are they the nefarious ones?
there is definitely some greed that Erik is saying, some greed, some
Okay.
getting money into their pockets here. Yes.
If we don't have any more fossil fuels, what will we substitute for plastic and things like that? What? What other things are there out there?
Right now there is no substitute that completely could make up for everything that fossil fuels does.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
just it's just not there. It's not there, and the resources aren't there. I mean, it's like what he's saying is it has to spread across, instead of just being all about fossil fuels or switching it all to this Green New Deal stuff. It has to go across the board.
yeah. So Eric, what do you think about scalar energy or nuclear energy as a substitute for, like, electrical grid and all that? I don't know what it is for.
So he says it's not going to heat everybody's homes, is what he says. It's not going to heat everybody's homes.
Which ones?
But
Nuclear or both?
both.
Okay.
He says right now they wouldn't heat everybody's homes.
Yeah.
And so that's, these serve purposes and generating energy in other areas,
Yeah.
but not for, keeping the lights on,
Yeah. Okay.
keeping the heat running.
I know that Tesla had a scalar energy tower that created electricity for the entirety of Colorado Springs, but that was probably a very small town back then. All right. Is the Green New Deal to bring in New World Order?
Not entirely, not entirely. There is I mean, if it were to happen, okay,
Yeah.
it's in an alternate reality of what we have. If it were to happen, yes, it would bring in a new world order. But
Okay.
he is adamant that it is not going to fully happen.
Okay. All right.
So
Good. Here's another one along the same lines. Is it true that the Green New Deal will end free speech and implement a social credit score? If so, how will that unfold? Ugh. I mean, if it were to be enacted in its entirety. Never heard of this.
yeah, so Eric is kind of saying like no, this isn't even something to be concerned about.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. What ulterior motives and consequences are we not being told about with this Green New Deal?
What are we not being told about?
Yeah.
So, I don't know that there's anything that Eric is saying that isn't at least in theory being talked about.
Okay.
Okay, maybe not by the powers that be that are trying to get it out there, but if you're looking around on this, there's all kinds of information on what could happen. And I like my economic terms from time to time, and there would be many unintended consequences
Oh, I bet.
from this. So if we, one of the things that they talk about is like creating new jobs. Well, if you get rid of fossil fuels, that's not really balancing out the jobs that you would lose with the jobs that you're creating.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you have to factor all of that kind of stuff in. But aside from all of that, this is not a feasible thing to happen in the next 30 years, 28 years.
Like Trump said, it's baby talk.
Yeah, it's not feasible. So this is all theoretical, although Eric says there is some good. And even with the scalar stuff, like if you could find a way to run your home on scalar energy, this is great. But as far as getting what would need to be set up to run the world on that.
Oh, yeah. What about nuclear power plants, though? Is that a good option? Why don't we do that more? The security reasons?
Well, yeah, and Eric is saying that there are actually going to be an increase.
Okay.
In those in that 28-year period that we're talking about.
Okay.
But not to completely take over.
Okay.
For the fossil fuels.
What is the ultimate perfect energy that we will create or discover and use, even if it's 200 years from now, 300 years from now? 0.0 energy, maybe? Or
so I'm asking him, and he is still saying even 200 years from now. He's showing me like the corn, how they get stuff running on corn, and
oh yeah, right.
The oil and still with the coal and the gas and yeah, and it will be, when we're talking like out 200 years, there will be a lot more, he's saying, like self-sustained power. So maybe like
Okay.
we're talking like the scalar stuff where small groups are running
Oh,
on just
yeah.
this one small thing. It's almost like there's something about it that he's showing me that feels more like more community, like it used to be back 200
Oh,
years,
okay.
where yeah, the smaller communities kind of use what they want to use what they have access to,
Okay.
that sort of stuff.
All right. The Green New Deal feels like another scam. Must be the same person making this question. What's the best way forward for living in tune with the earth, and how far away are we from accomplishing balance with her?
So, well, not destroying all the trees and all the vegetation and all the natural inhabitants of earth is a big deal, and that is one of the problems with the Green New Deal. To get windmills up everywhere, you do have to clear out a ton of land.
And they kill bats and birds.
Oh yeah, all the wildlife. So it's
Unintended
not.
consequences. So many
Yes.
government deals,
Yes.
policies have unintended. Look at
Yes.
the New Deal. It tore up the African American family structure. Not all of it, but so yeah, unintended consequences are
Yes.
difficult to predict.
So, like as far as an individual basis, living with Mother Earth and stuff, grow your own gardens if you can, plant trees if you can, lower your own emissions as much as you can. This sort of stuff is how we do it. But we can't go back to no fossil fuels and no, it's just
John
there's
Kerry.
not enough other resources to make up for what.
Yeah, it's
And
like
it'll
John
be
Kerry and
expensive.
Al Gore flying around on private jets to talk about climate change. I think it's
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Is the Green New Deal necessary to escape climate catastrophe?
No, it's not. It's not the only way out. No.
All right. Along the same lines, will climate change dislocate billions and kill millions? If so, how do we thrive in a dying world?
So, what Erik is saying about that is that there is changes being made to help with this, the small changes. But Earth isn't going anywhere, and Earth isn't going to be destroyed until there is absolutely no need for souls to be coming to Earth anymore.
Wow, it's like we'll go extinct before she dies, right?
Yes.
But certainly, I mean, I feel like we'll probably mutate over time. I don't think there's going to be a drastic change. This climate change is probably going to be what, over hundreds of years, or
Well, yes, that thousands really. When he says when you look at from from the beginning of time here.
yeah, right.
But there's always spirit that is willing to help us. There's always
Oh,
redirection that can be done here.
oh, good.
If we are not going to destroy the planet, if it is not in the contract of the universe for Earth to be destroyed.
And
Erik says it's just no.
oh, good,
No, it's not. It's
good.
not. So not that. Sorry, he was being funny. He's like, it's not that you just treat it like, you're in a piece of shit hotel and do whatever you want. You have to take care of it,
Yeah.
like pick up your trash. Don't just don't wreck the place because nothing's going to happen to it. You still have to,
Oh, yeah.
you still have to treat it with love and respect, but it's not going anywhere. It's not going
Okay.
anywhere anytime soon.
Well, even before man existed, the Earth has gone through so many climate type cycles, ice ages and then the opposite, ice ages, and the orbit changes, super oval, more round, tilting of the axis change. So what percentage of what we're seeing in the way of climate change is due to Mother Earth's changes in orbit and axis tilt?
So what Eric is saying about that, if I'm getting the question, if I'm understanding the question correctly, are we talking like the weather stuff and the like
Yeah,
the
climate,
fires and like all of this stuff?
everything. How much is it just due to like Mother Earth going through her different orbital changes?
Yes,
And
yes. Some of this is just going to happen because, yeah, it just
yeah,
is going to happen. There's also an aspect of this right now that is that whole ascension into 5D and of the
oh,
awareness and the awakening.
hmm,
So some of this is just contracted to happen to get people paying attention more.
okay,
But there is stuff that is happening because of pollution, and
yeah,
so he's saying about probably like around 30% of it is like what we're doing.
okay, all
Right.
right.
Yeah.
All right. What role does oil play in the life of Mother Earth, and what effect does oil have on Earth if we remove all of the oil? So what role does oil play in the life of Mother Earth?
So what Eric said about that is Earth needs oil to survive. There needs to be
Really?
oil here. If we just got rid of all the oil and there was all of a sudden no oil here, it would completely change the ecosystem, and it would completely change the makeup of Earth. And
Wow.
so this is just theoretical, he said, because it's not going to
Never
happen.
going to happen. But what
Right.
would happen to Earth if all the oil, I mean, if it's not going to happen, but what would
It's
happen? Did we
what he's
die or,
showing me is like a ball of like mud that just, as it dries and dries and dries and just turns to dirt. And
oh, wow.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you need the
um
oily moisturizer, Mother Earth. Yeah.
you need
Moisturize that dry skin.
the oil. It says it's important like the bees are, he said.
Okay.
It's important like the bees. It would completely change everything.
Ew.
Without the bees, we don't really make it very
I
very
know.
long.
I know. All right. What are the spiritual impacts of of depleting the Earth's natural resources and fossil fuels? The spiritual impact.
So what he's talking about, what he's showing me, is that it's the like using the oil, using this stuff. What's the spiritual impact? He's saying it's more of like a give and take. Like
Okay.
it's meant to be a give and take between us and the earth. So we get the fuels. So there's not really an any negative spiritual impacts
Okay.
of using the natural resource, is what he's saying. It's how we use it, it's what we do. That's where the spiritual implications come in.
Okay. Sorry, I had to look
Oh
up
no, it's okay.
because
If
I
you're
one question is like I don't understand it. So okay. All right. All right. Will the Green New Deal save the planet from global warming if it were to be completely enacted?
No.
Okay. Now, this is what I had to look up. Is a Green New Deal able to create a solar punk future? I didn't know what that was. Or do we need a more radical restructuring of society? So that is solar punk is a literary genre and art movement that envisions how the future might look if humanity succeeded in solving major contemporary challenges with an emphasis on sustainability, human impact on the environment, climate change, and pollution.
Okay, so what was the question again?
I know. It's a difficult question.
Yes.
Is a Green New Deal able to create a solar punk future, like this beautiful sustainability and all that, or do we need a more radical restructuring of society? Well, I already
No.
said no, it's not.
No, we would need a radical restructuring of society. Basically what Eric is saying that person is asking will happen once Earth is no longer used for the purpose that we use Earth for now. Once souls have evolved to the point where Earth becomes more of a pleasant place to come.
Yeah.
That's when we get to that place. That has to do with soul evolvement, not
Oh,
this new Green Deal. And again, he keeps talking about if like this we could snap our fingers and the new Green Deal was in effect. The problem with why it doesn't save global warming is because of the amount of forests and trees and everything, the wildlife that would have to be stripped down to make space for the alternative sources of
Yeah.
power, the windmills, the
Solar farms, yeah.
yes, yes.
Even the
So
nuclear power.
it's trading one for the other. Okay, yeah, we solved the problem that the fossil fuels are causing for the environment, but now we've stripped out all this other stuff and we've caused another problem.
Oh, I didn't think about that. That's interesting. All right. What will be the environmental toll of the extraction of minerals like cobalt used to make the batteries that power electrical vehicles? Yeah, that's another thing. You tear up earth to get to these minerals like lithium and cobalt.
Well, and then you have all of these batteries that need to go someplace
Yeah.
when they're used up.
Yeah.
So again, all this unintended consequences. There is not just one right answer.
Yeah.
It's
Electrical
why it's
vehicles, fossil fuels are involved in making the tires and all that stuff. And so, all right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, and I got sidetracked too. So I don't remember the question. What was the question?
What will the environmental toll of taking all of these minerals that are used for batteries to power electrical vehicles?
So he is saying that eventually there'll have to be another way of doing this. So we'll, start depleting this resource or start realizing that, okay, there's a problem with the getting rid of the batteries. So we have to find another way to do this. What'll happen is it'll just force another type of
Yeah.
fuel, type of energy to be discovered.
Well, Nikola Tesla created way back when a car that was run on scalar energy, and it went like 90 miles an hour max and never ran out of fuel. So could scalar energy run cars be a possibility?
Yes.
Fusion or fission, other types of beside ones that need batteries.
Yes. It could, and it'll be that kind of work, and the whole oil, the oil stuff, which we already know, like the corn, that the corn oil, and there will be other stuff that's discovered that can do this. But it's like Eric keeps talking about, which I understand, like the Greek yogurt industry.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Greek yogurt is supposed to be so great for you, but it creates all of that stuff that they can't use, which I can't think of what it is, that there's really no way to dispose of it.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah.
The ingredient in it?
Yes. I can't think of all the details, but there's this like runoff of Greek yogurt that they can't use, and so it creates this whole issue with how to get rid of this product. Like almond milk. Almond milk is supposed to be so much better. Meanwhile, it causes a real problem for the environment. And I can't remember.
Interesting.
I can't remember what that is. If it has to do with like the amount of water. I can't remember what the issue is with
something in the process of creating it, making it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it true that producing an electric vehicle contributes on an average twice as much to global warming potential, and that doubles the amount of energy than producing a combustion engine car?
It's Eric says it's not quite double, but it really is trading one thing for another. It
like
really,
we talked about.
yeah, it's just trading one issue for a different issue.
Okay. Will the introduction of electric cars eventually solve most of the pollution in cities? I mean, this is pollution, not other environmental problems.
Yes, it would definitely help.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just like we saw a lot of places when COVID first happened and everything was locked down.
Yeah.
And we saw across the world, animals were coming back into, what was it, in Italy with the canals, and the animals.
Yeah, the canals cleared up.
And yeah. So absolutely it would help with pollution.
So it has its own problems as far as global warming, but it does solve the pollution problem, which has, of course, health risks and so on.
Yes. Yes. So
damned if you do and damned if you don't.
But like what Eric is saying is, if 50% of the vehicles were running on something other than fossil fuels, that's a nice balance.
Yeah.
That's, so it doesn't have to be completely all of them. And unless something's changed, people with pacemakers can't ride in electric cars.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that. That makes sense.
Yeah. I have a 8-year-old grandson with a pacemaker, and he can't be in an electric car.
Oh, wow. Geez. Okay. So, Oh, I had a question. I can't remember it now. I'll think of it later. Okay, electric. Will Russia's delisted oil companies be allowed back in the US after the war?
Eventually, yes, not immediately.
Okay. When would, if we used oil, fossil fuels, just oil and natural gas, not coal, but how long will it take for us to completely be depleted at, if we go at the current rate?
Hundreds of years.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. When will, okay, why are we trying to get fuel from our enemies like Iran and Venezuela when they're, because we cut our fossil fuel use off when once Biden became president, even though because he was concerned about the environment, but yet our energy is so much cleaner than the ones we're.
So Eric is telling me that this has political implications that I don't understand.
Okay.
Okay, so backroom deals, backdoor deals, whatever this
Oh.
is, there's political implications that I don't quite understand well enough to verbalize.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
That makes
Well, I'm
sense.
sure that he's appeasing to the left environmentalist, obviously, but don't they understand that we need to wane off of fossil fuel, obviously, but it's better for us to use our energy here where it's much cleaner than to go to the buy the dirt
Yeah.
fuels.
So
And also, the
what Eric
huge
is
independent is important for national security.
Yeah, and so what Eric is saying is what this is, it is to appease certain people. So it's like, look at this, what I've done, pay attention to what I've done over here. Don't pay attention to the issues that it will cause later.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the way that the world works right now, this is working. This whole pay attention to this over here, this good thing that I've done. Don't pay attention to
Yeah.
the issues it might cause. And it's unfortunately right now works right with a lot of what's going on in the world.
So is it better for us to produce energy and become energy independent than to not?
Yes.
Okay.
It's so completely independent. He's even saying, even with that being completely independent, it still is good to have some stuff going across other countries.
Okay.
To be completely independent, completely 100% independent, would actually cause some unrest.
Oh, okay. Around the globe.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
When will med beds be revealed and be in service? I think that those medical beds that are, it's ET technology, that the beds that operate and do all sorts of stuff or something.
Eric is saying this already exists.
Yes.
This technology already does exist.
Mhm.
When will it be revealed and be used? Well, right now they are in some capacity being used. So
Military.
whoever has the technology is using it and testing it. But as far as when they will be, see, this is one of those things that's so risky, he says, because it solves so many problems that it's not actually profitable to be released. And
So
this
Big
has
Pharma and the AMA and all that are, yeah, they're against it. So they tried to suppress this ET technology?
Well, right now there's agreements to keep it suppressed. So they're not even having to try to suppress it. Right now it's an agreement that it's not going to come out. But what this will be the type of thing where somebody on their deathbed who works with like this technology will reveal it, but it's going to still be some years. It's still, and I got to be honest with you, he's saying this is one of those situations where people might start dying if they started talking.
Ooh. All right. Well, this is like when the whole Tesla towering Colorado Springs, JP Morgan had the tower or I think it was JP Morgan, destroyed because of course then, they don't want cheap, free, unlimited energy because then they couldn't make
Right. No,
money on oil.
exactly.
Why can't people just be nice? All
Well,
right.
and that's the thing, like with and this popped in before, but sometimes stuff comes at me so fast I don't get out. But the problem with the Green New Deal is that the people who are in the forefront of this are investing or buying up land that they would know would going to be turned into the wind,
Oh,
so it's shady. This is that shady stuff that we were talking about in the beginning.
oh boy. All right. When is the most probable quantic time? I don't know what that is. I guess quantum probability to discover and accept magnetic generators / motors.
So the magnetic stuff does again create the issues with people with pacemakers.
Yeah.
So on a large scale, it can't just be this magnetic force field that's being used to power things unless they find a way to combat the issue with pacemakers and the magnetic field stuff creates another whole issue, and this is one of the big ones.
Does it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
What does it cause? Other health problems or other unintended consequences?
It does. Yeah, it actually, what Erik is saying is that much of a magnetic field, I guess whatever this is that we'd be talking about, there will be people who are very sensitive to it, people that the metals that are supposed to be in our body will be disrupted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is not a super feasible alternative.
All right. When will the fusion lens to see multi-dimensionality be created? Well, that's not anything to do with the Green New Deal, but there's some lens where you can see multiple dimensions.
Yeah, again, this is technology that it already exists.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that where a person had this piece of special glass and they see an alien shit,
I gotta tell you, for the masses, people would not want this.
Yeah.
I've done this kind of work for a long time, and I have seen with the naked eye spirits just be there, and it's alarming.
Yeah.
So I don't really feel like the mass public would actually want to see everything that's going on around us. So.
No, I mean, I have these visions in my mind of waking up and there's a small gray standing over me by my bed.
Yeah.
I was like,
oh yeah.
I've
had that happen many times, but I was broad daylight one time at work in Casadega, and I opened the bathroom door and there was an apparition standing at the bathroom sink.
Wow.
I could see the color of her hair, her clothing scared the life out of me.
Oh my gosh.
So
I've never done that. All right. Do you see an unlimited source of electricity discovered soon, or ETs sharing this technology with us? I think we answered that question, but
it's not one unlimited source.
Okay.
Is what Erik is saying. There is not one unlimited source. There are multiple sources, and we need to be open to using as many sources, as many alternative sources, as many new sources that come along. That's where the sweet spot is.
Okay.
And quite frankly, he says that's how it's going to kind of go anyways, because there is no way to completely, especially not in 28 years. Is that how far away we are from 50? 28 years?
Oh, more or less. I don't know. Don't make me do math.
Oh my God. So it's just not feasible to happen, nor should we be looking to completely replace any avenue of energy.
Okay. All right.
It's like he said, Erik says, it's like if you just said, okay, we're just going to completely get rid of this source of food. There's not, we need all the sources of food that we can have globally, we need to access.
Right. So AOC, of course, she wants to get rid of cows and airplanes, air travel.
This kind of falls into that category of knowing that we're kind of going way overboard to hopefully bring it back.
To get
one side goes this way, one side goes this way, and the solution is here.
I mean, that is what the baby talk is all about. I swear, getting rid of all. Okay, so I could never go to Norway and visit my relatives.
Right.
Take a banana boat. And what about fucking baby formula to Kroger's and all these places so that babies can have their formula, or,
Yes.
you can't, or changing all buildings, apparently. I don't know why, but anyway, that's crazy.
There's just not enough money to, who's going to pay for all of this? Who's
No.
going to, and then if you got rid of all the air travel, then you have more ships in the water, creating a problem in the ocean. So
It's like like closing off the Keystone pipeline and other pipelines. Well, the oil has to get there somehow, and it expends much more fossil fuels to truck in tankers to truck the oil to like Houston.
yeah, but it's that
not common
like,
sense.
oh, look what we did over here, but don't pay attention to the other problems it's caused.
It's much worse. The emissions from these trucks and stuff. It's crazy. All right, what about dark energy? Is that a source of potential unlimited energy?
Dark energy? I don't know what that is.
Well, it is, they thought it was just the vacuum of space, but it's not. It's teeming with massive amounts of energy, infinite energy.
Okay, so when you say dark energy, I automatically think like
Oh, no,
negative
no, no, no,
spirits.
no.
I'm like,
It's like you can't, it's dark because you can't see it, like black space.
There is potential there. Right now, there's not a feasible way to harness it.
Yeah.
However, I'm hearing that that's being worked on.
Oh, that would be
yeah.
amazing.
Even if it's just theoretical right now, there is at least the concept exists that they're trying to figure out how to harness it. Right now, we can't harness it at the moment.
No. How long do you think it will be before we can harness it and it's put into application?
Honestly, I feel like he just said there'll be some kind of a breakthrough in the 40s, the 2040s.
Okay. Good. Anything else? But that's my last question. Anything else you want to say about the Green New Deal, or anything that we've talked about?
No, not that hasn't already been said. He said not that hasn't already been said. But well, okay, no, he said for anybody who's worried out there that this is going to happen, what they are proposing is not going to happen.
Okay.
Parts of it will, some of it will and should, but it's not going to be at the expense of getting rid of all the fossil fuels and never using that.
And cows, poor cows. I like cows.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, Eric. You guys, please check her out at Psychic Medium, JenniferDoran.com, which we'll have in the description box. Please subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell. All right. Thank you. Love you, Jennifer. Love you, Eric.
Love you. Take care.
Everybody out there. Bye. Happy Easter.